Funding Hutto's Public Safety, a tale of two processes. Welcome to the Hutto Transparency.org videocast. In this explainer, we're diving into a pretty fascinating double standard happening right now in Hutto's local government. We're going to look at exactly how the city is funding two major public safety projects. And as we do, we have to ask a critical question. When does leadership decide to trust you, the voters? And when do they figure out a way to bypass you entirely? Let's get into it.
Part 1. The standard route, the police station.
Okay, to really understand this dynamic, we need to start with the first major project on the city's agenda. Looking at the official Capital Improvement Project fact sheet, this proposed police department facility and justice center is, well, it's massive. We're talking 10 to 12 acres of land and a building somewhere between 100,000 and 130,000 square feet. This is a colossal infrastructure commitment meant to last for decades.
And as you might guess, a scale like that comes with a massive price tag. City budget documents estimate the total cost for land and construction at a staggering $55 million. Now, taking on $55 million of future debt is no small thing. It usually requires some serious public buy-in.
But here is where it gets interesting. Take a look at the data from the City's own 2026 Community Survey. When residents were asked if they support funding new public safety facilities, a resounding 73% said yes, they are either strongly or somewhat supportive. So the public mandate here is crystal clear, right? The voters want this.
So how did the city react to this data? Well, because city leadership knows they have overwhelming public support, they followed standard democratic processes. It's step by step. The public survey confirms support, the city holds an open city council vote to approve the architect's design contract, and then, crucially, they put this massive construction debt on the November ballot. They are proudly trusting the taxpayers to make the final call.
Part 2. The baseline reality. Existing fire protection.
Now, before we look at the second project, we need to quickly establish the baseline reality of Hutto's current fire protection. Right now, residents are covered by the Williamson County Emergency Services District Number 3. And this isn't just your run-of-the-mill coverage. Records show ESD 3 actually maintains an elite ISO Class 1 rating. To put that into perspective for you, out of roughly 2,800 fire departments in the entire state of Texas, only 74 hold this top-tier rating. It's literally world-class.
And what's even better, it's incredibly efficient. Based on an economic study cited in ESD3 tax records, their per capita fire and rescue cost is just $95.64 per person. Contrast that with neighboring cities operating their own departments. Leander is at about $168, Round Rock is over $200, and Cedar Park and Georgetown are pushing $245. So Hutto is already getting the best protection in the state, and they're getting it at a fraction of the regional cost.
Part 3. The alternative route, proposed fire station number 1.
Keeping that high-quality, low-cost baseline in mind, let's look at how the city's approval process completely shifts for their own proposed $11 million fire station. Unlike the widely supported police station, data suggests many residents actually oppose this one. Why? Well, because the community already has that elite Class 1 coverage we just talked about. So to a lot of taxpayers, spending $11 million on a brand new city-run station seems totally financially redundant.
So if it's controversial, how exactly is an $11 million project moving forward? If we pull up the City of Hutto Granicus meeting agenda, we see a major shift in strategy. Instead of a standard, highly publicized city council vote leading to a bond election, the project's approvals were quietly pushed over to the Hutto Economic Development Corporation, or the EDC.
Looking closely at the agenda items, there's Resolution RHDC 2026-035. Through the EDC, they're approving the design contract for PBK Architects. And by the way, that is the exact same architect used for the police station. They're also using the EDC for land acquisition and major budget amendments. They are effectively shifting the financial mechanics away from the standard city bond process entirely.
Part 4. The EDC loophole explained. Now you might be scratching your head wondering how a fire station gets funded through an economic development corporation. First, we need to know what the EDC actually is. According to the city's budget book, it's a legally separate entity that uses a fixed amount of local sales tax revenue to promote economic growth and fund facilities. But here's the kicker, it's governed by a board of directors that is appointed directly by the city council.
And right there is the ultimate loophole. Documented in the public records, members of the city council actually sit on the EDC board. Because the city council holds a controlling majority on that board, they possess the ultimate power over its decisions. They can do what they want while operating under the somewhat obscured legal and financial umbrella of the EDC.
Let's look at these two processes side by side to really see how this works. On the left, you have the open city council process for major public safety debt. That route requires a citizen bond election. You, the taxpayer, get the final say. But on the right side, by shifting the project into the EDC process, the City Council Board majority can approve the facility funding themselves directly. They completely bypass the ballot box.
Which brings us to a visual summary of this whole double standard. For the police station, survey data essentially guaranteed a win, with 73% support. So the city chose to follow democratic norms, they trusted the voters and put it on the ballot. But for the fire station, that's an $11 million redundant project that would likely face steep rejection by those same voters. So the city leveraged the EDC to bypass them entirely.
We've looked at the documents, the budgets, the survey data, and the meeting agendas. And all this structural maneuvering leaves us with one unavoidable, rather provocative question to conclude this explainer. Why does a city only trust the ballot box when they already know what you're going to say? It's a fascinating look at the mechanics of local governance. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep asking questions.